Welcome to another edition of Business Rocky Mountain. I'm Russell Proctor, your host of Business Rocky Mountain. My guest today is Mike Houghton, Director of Public Affairs and Communications for the Cellular Telecommunications Industry Association. Did I get it right?
That's a mouthful, but that's right.
Mike, welcome to Business Rocky Mountain. You're visiting Rocky Mountain on behalf of U.S. Cellular today for the expo. Tell us a little bit, though, about Mike and your personal background, your family, college, and hometown, and so forth.
Well, originally I'm from Cape Cod, Massachusetts, but 24 years ago I came down with the Navy to the Washington, D.C. area, and I ended up staying down there. And I worked for a telephone company there, and then for Bell Atlantic, and I was doing a lot of international public relations. I'm a former journalist and a journalism degree from Suffolk University in Boston. Married, 2 kids, 2 daughters. One's in college, and one's a senior this year.
You were relating earlier, I think your oldest daughter spent a little bit of time here in North Carolina, East Carolina.
That's right, that's right.
Where's she now?
She's at a school called Dover, it's called Wesley College in Dover, Delaware. And she loved East Carolina, loved North Carolina, but she likes a smaller school, so that's why she's up there now.
I would assume somebody in journalism and media certainly enjoys writing and reading. What are some other hobbies that you enjoy?
Well, I really enjoy soccer. I've been formerly I played soccer in high school, and then I was in an amateur league, and then when I got a little too gray and losing a lot more of the hair on the top there, I decided to start coaching. So I've coached both my daughters in soccer teams, and right now I'm not doing soccer, but enjoyed the World Cup, and I think that's a growing sport.
I'm just out of curiosity, any of the 2 daughters playing soccer now?
Nope, no, they've retired as well.
What position did you play?
I interestingly played in high school. I played the offense. I played one of the insides or wing.
Right.
In later life, I played defense, and that was really was kind of neat because how you could utilize the skills that I learned in being the offense to psych out the other opposing team, and because of the speed, we were able to play like what they call a German defense, where the defense actually goes up the field with the ball, so they're kind of an offense. So we're an offensive defense.
Well, I can certainly side with the defense. I played goalie in high school myself, and I know how important the defensive man is standing in front of me, so I can relate very well with that. And I'm doing a little coaching this year. It's interesting to try to coach 6-year-olds. If you're interested, let me know.
I've done it.
Let's talk a little bit about the CTIA, the Cellular Telecommunications Industry Association. Obviously, from your journalism media background and through Bell Atlantic and Chesapeake Potomac Telephone, you've had a lot of interest in the telecommunications and the media area. What led to CTIA? I mean, what developed that, and exactly who is CTIA?
Well, CTIA is a wireless trade organization. It represents all of the commercial mobile radio service providers, and that means your cellular, your enhanced specialized mobile radio companies, mobile satellite companies, and the new personal communication service companies when they come. Originally, it was primarily cellular, but as you'll see, cellular is not the only technology that's out there today. We're really and truly becoming a wireless marketplace, and the growth in the wireless marketplace is just incredible. I think we will see in the next 5 years new technologies, but for the customer, it's still going to be one bottom line thing, and that's the applications, and customers are going to buy the service based on what it provides and how it's priced.
Let's talk about the industry a lot. We want to talk about enhanced services and so forth, but who pioneered the industry? How did cellular, and where's its infancy? Where's it start?
Well, it started back in probably, you can trace it all the way back to Marconi and radio. That's where it began. But it's an FM radio transmission. And it goes back to about 1947 that Bell Laboratories developed cellular technology. And it wasn't until the 70s that they began to build a system that was called AMPS, which was something for amps. How soon the mind goes. But anyway, it was an advanced mobile phone service, I believe. And what happened was divestiture occurred, and when the breakup of the Bell system. And at that time, the FCC was setting up, how do you license this? This is going to be a brand new service, and how do we license it? So what they did was they decided there would be 2 licenses in each of the market areas. There would be what they call an A license and a B license. The B originally stood for like Bell or the local telephone company, and the A stood for alternative. Nowadays, you have Bell companies who have A licenses and vice versa. So that's kind of gone away. But by having these two cellular licenses, their goal was to roll out this industry and to roll it out to make sure that it reached all parts of the United States in a certain amount of time, and that it wasn't a system where somebody was just going to concentrate on the major metropolitan areas, that rural service areas would be covered as well as the metropolitan areas.
Initially in the process, if I remember correctly, everybody was going to be able to submit applications and somebody would choose them.
Right.
But then it also somewhat evolved almost to an auction system or something, did it not? And everybody kind of teamed up and joined forces and then started trading off different licenses for different markets.
Well, what happened was it started out with, as you mentioned, the comparative type system. Then, because of the delay in the licensing, the way that it's done, they decided to go to a lottery process. And the lottery process, as it says, they pulled names, and the lucky winner gets a license. In the early days of cellular, there were pioneers, and there still are pioneers, who believed in cellular, who invested in cellular, and stuck with it, and became multi-billionaires. Others who said they didn't see the future, sold out, made a lot of money right at the start by selling their licenses to other people. So then some of the carriers began to buy up smaller markets and group them, so you started to see the formation of bigger companies. But you'll see in the next generation of wireless services probably the same thing. You're going to see entrepreneurs coming in who are going to get in there and invest their money, invest their time, their heart, soul, and blood, and sweat and tears, and build the system.
You made a comment earlier that really kind of struck me. I tend to concentrate and think of cellular more as telecommunications. And certainly I guess we think of that as electronics, but I don't know that we think of it in terms of all the other electronic medium that's out there. You kind of called it the magic, the wave of the future.
Right.
Explain a little bit. Talk about what's happened just so far.
Okay, well, what we're seeing is a convergence of technologies. You're seeing computers that are getting smaller and more powerful. You're seeing cellular phones that are getting lighter and smaller, and you're seeing technology that exists today that allows cable companies to get into telephone systems. You're seeing telephone companies getting into cables, sending video. So everything is converging, and what's happening is the processing power of the computer keeps getting smaller and smaller and more powerful. So they now can be a marriage of a convergence of the different technologies. So you have a phone that can do computing, can do faxing, can act as a pager. All of these are coming together, and all the various companies, like the cable companies, are going to now look to get into the next generation of wireless. Long-distance companies are going to start to get into the next wireless generation. And what's happening is, as I described today at the Business Expo, is it's a magic of the future. It's a magic of what's to come. And I think we're going to see some moving from what is POTS, or plain old telephone service, to PANS, which is pretty amazing new stuff.
Well, we want to talk about the POTS and PANS. My guest, Mike Houghton, with the cellular telecommunications industry. Please stay tuned with Business Rocky Mountain.
Well, I took a long look in the mirror this morning. And I say, when a 50-year-old man looks in the mirror, he sees a 22-year-old looking back at him. The thing is, the 22-year-old has years to plan for the future, put some money away. But the 50-year-old, well, that boy's running out of time.
Legg Mason, planning for retirement. It's time.
Welcome back to Business Rocky Mountain. My guest, Mike Houghton, Director of Public Affairs, the Cellular Telecommunications Industry Association, CTIA. Mike, you're talking about the pots and pans. I love that line when you talk about the wave of the future, the magic of the future of cellular telephone. Talk about the numbers. I mean, you call it the fastest growing electronics industry ever?
Yeah, we used as a benchmark, we used how long did it take us to get to 10 million customers? And it took us 9 years. The only thing that's comparable to that is the fax machine. The VCR, which took nine years. Fax was something like 22 years. Landline phones was something like 38 years to get to 10 million. Well, we were really pleased about that, but that was about over a year and a half ago.
That was then.
Yeah, and we have now doubled that. So we've added another 10 million customers in over a year and a half. So we now are at 20 million customers, and that means that we are growing at a rate of about 17,000 new customers a day. And 2 out of every 3 new telephone numbers that are given out to wireless customers. So it's pretty astounding growth. Many of the carriers are saying, reporting growth rates anywhere between 45 to 75% growth rate annually.
That is phenomenal. We're talking in a little bit about some of the other services that are competing that are somewhat adjunct to cellular, that not just the cellular that you know today or we know today, but what's really driving that growth rate?
Well, I think it's a couple of things. I think people are going portable in a big way. People want to have the ability to communicate wherever and whenever they want. They don't want to be tethered to a wall anymore and have that phone, the cord as far as you can go, or the cordless phone, you can only go a certain range. They want to be able to take the phone to the beach. They want to be able to take the phone to the mountains. We have people who have told me that when they go camping in the wilderness, on their little camping list of things, they have the sleeping bag, the tent, food, cooking utensils, and a cellular phone. Don't leave home without their cellular phone because, as it's been reported in the press, we've had people who've been lost in the wilderness who've been able to call and get rescuers to their location. We even heard of a person who had been rescued off of a mountaintop using his cellular phone. He called for help. He was stuck on the mountain and was able to get help. You're seeing more and more people finding new applications every day, even to the simple woman on the bus that I saw, who every day she gets about 2 bus stops away from her bus stop, and what she does is calls her husband, and her husband comes and picks her up at the bus stop, so she's not waiting on a street corner at night in the dark. She's got the comfort of knowing that her husband is right there when she goes. People who are the average consumer who's going home may have latchkey kids at home, and they're coming home from work and stuck in traffic or have a flat tire or whatever, and they want to get word to the kids, don't worry, I'm on the way. We're seeing more and more of the day-to-day use. It's becoming, the expression I like to use is, we're not your father's car phone anymore. We're more than that. We're that portable handheld unit, which is over there somewhere, but you have a portable handheld unit that you can take anywhere, and you can call any. Shall I?
No, we're good.
Okay. And so it's becoming more and more that people are using it. People are using it on the business side as well. They're using business customers are continuing to find new productive ways. And this is the advantage of this sort of thing is it just folds up, goes in your pocket or in your purse or whatever you're carrying. But it's so convenient to be able to carry. Plus the fact in my house, I've given it to my daughters. If they're going out on a date, they get the phone, they take the phone with them. But of course, I'm now up to about to purchase my 3rd phone, but because I have 2 daughters. But the advantage of this is that, what's the greatest excuse you have when your teenager runs late at night?
Oh, flat tire or something, obviously.
Couldn't get to a phone, couldn't call you. I would have called you if I got into a phone. So here's the phone. There's no excuse. Well, they've now coined a new excuse, and that is the battery died. So what I do now is I equip them with 2 batteries, a phone. There's no excuse. So it's a never-ending battle between father and daughter, so teenage daughter. But seriously, though, I've had situations where my daughters have been in accidents and in dangerous situations where they've been able to take out the phone and call me, and I've been able to get them. And the comfort as a parent to know that even your children or your spouse is out there driving. My wife does a lot of highway driving around Washington, D.C., which is not exactly the safest place in the world, but I feel very comfortable that she has her phone with her, that if car breaks down, she needs help, she can call me. We had a situation one time where a car wouldn't start, and she was in the parking lot at the college that she teaches at. It was cold, it was snowing, and she was like, panicking. She didn't have a phone then, and now she has a phone. She would call me, and off I would have went to go get her or whatever else, or she would have been able to call AAA and have somebody start the car or do whatever. But when there's no phones around, it's a pretty lonely feeling. So people, I think, what's driving the growth, long answer to a question, what's driving it is there's more and more consumers that are using these portable phones for the ability to be able to communicate wherever and whenever. And not only that, but the next step is they're being able to get data or get information wherever and whenever they want. So business people are able to sit in a car, say for instance a salesperson. They're able to go out and do credit card verification wirelessly. They're able to take an order and process it and ship it directly via a wireless modem back to their main plant. I know UPS uses wireless technology, cellular technology, to keep track of packages worldwide. When that UPS man comes to your door and he has this little device, he's sending the signal back to his main headquarters to say, this is where the package is today. You also got telemetry systems that people are using wirelessly so that they're monitoring farm silos from remote locations, monitoring power meter reading via wireless, so that they don't have to depend on that cable coming to the house. President Clinton, when he was talking about the information highway, we had an event on the White House lawn to talk about the new wireless technology, and the way he described it was it's the information skyway, and truly I think that's what's happening. The information highway is only as good as it goes, but you need on and off ramps to get onto that highway, and cellular provides that last link.
We had a speaker here recently that talked about glass, sand, and air. Glass being fiber optic, sand being the chip and so forth, and air certainly being the wireless situation. And he really struck me because one of the things he said was that wireless telephones are going to be the computers of the future.
Absolutely.
And people, I think, are having a hard time grasping that. We're there.
The technology is here today. What we need to have is the marketing side of it has to come up with the applications, and that's happening. Every day I get new announcements of new services. There are things that are on the market today called personal digital assistants, which allow people to be able to use, be able to fax, do computing, and make a phone call right from a device about the size of this or maybe a little larger. But I think what we're going to see, as I mentioned earlier, is we're going to have a device, every one of us is going to have a device that's a communicator that is able to communicate either verbally, with data, whatever. But it's not going to be, the term telephone, I think, is going to become an archaic term like icebox. People are going to not even think about what a telephone is. The idea of having just voice is going to be something that's, archaic and something from the ancient history or something.
Look forward to joining Mike again. Mike, Business Affairs Director of the Cellular Telecommunications Industry. Please stay with us on Business Rocky Mountain.
Does this sound familiar? I make twice as much as my dad ever did. I've got a car he never could have owned. I've got a nice house.